Hello, everyone, and welcome to another EBTV presentation of high school sports. Tonight, it's high school wrestling. We have a matchup between Red Division rivals, the Tigers of South Plainfield and the East Brunswick Bears. I'm Bob Cancro along with Stu Kohn. We're here to bring you all the action. Stu, we have on paper a pretty good matchup. The Bears have been very tough this year, but South Plainfield is South Plainfield.
We have one in the county versus two in the county. The difference is how much of a gap is there between 1 and 2. South Plainfield, they've been a hammer. They've been a big gun as far back as I can remember. East Brunswick presently ranked number 2 in the county. The question is tonight, though, just how big that gap is between 1 and 2. South Plainfield's currently ranked number 1 in the state.
South Plainfield lost 101 wins through graduation. That's a lot, but they still have kids coming back. State champion, state place winners. I think there are 4 in their lineup right now.
Well, South Plainfield, they don't rebuild. They just reload, and it's year after year. They just seem to fill those holes.
And we're going to see how those matchups work out tonight. We'll be right back with all the action. We are back at East Brunswick High School. Stu Kohn and Bob Cancro. They are doing the introduction now with the South Plainfield and East Brunswick. We are starting at 145 pounds, Stu. Troy Heilman and Travis Letzko. And now here at 152, it's either Dylan Payton or Eric Rodriguez against Anthony Tomeo. And John Schleifer, that's the hot number for East Brunswick. He's the big gun.
And he'll have a good match tonight if he faces Ian Sequel. He's undefeated for South Plainfield.
At 170, Jordan Hanwerger is in there for South Plainfield, and junior Sam Kim for the Bears.
South Plainfield at 182, Colin Lynch versus East.
Colin Lynch and James Kalbach for the Bears. And you are maybe picking up the PA announcing of Powell Sachs. 195, Luigi Girardi and Mahmoud Solomon. Solomon having a solid year for the Bears, too.
Showing lots of improvement.
At 220 for South Plainfield, Troy Russell.
We move up to the 220 weight. Torrey Russell, senior, and Mike Quinton again doing a very good job for the Bears. Quinton having a great year.
25, Tyler Calderon.
Calderon for the Tigers and Oliver Piori for the Bears. And then we run around back to the lower weights at 106. We have Ryan Walsh for South Plainfield against Truman Zhu, and he is a freshman in his first varsity match for the Bears at 106 pounds.
At 113 for South Plainfield, Daniel Haddon.
Daniel Haddon is a freshman for the Tigers at 113, and Tyler Gallegos, a junior freshman, doesn't necessarily mean a lot with the South Plainfield. Raymond Jazikoff is at 120 for the Tigers, and there will be a forfeit there. The Bears do not have anyone wrestling at that weight class. 126 pounds brings up Corey Stasenko. He is one of the big guns for the Tigers against Eric Frazee for the Bears.
Stasenko or Robert Kovides. And for East Brunswick, it's Eric Frazee.
Robert Clavides is the other option there. I'd missed that one, Stu, when I was making my notes.
At 132 for South Plainfield, Scott Delvecchio.
Scott Delvecchio. He's a place winner in the States, right?
He's state champ.
State champ, okay.
Just a mere place.
Just a mere place. And Mike Nicolaro for the Bears at 132. And at 138, this should be an interesting matchup. You've got Anthony Ashnault, another one of the Ashnaughts coming out of South Plainfield.
We'll talk about Anthony later. You can talk about Anthony all night.
And Sean Glasgow in there for the Bears. And we now have our national anthem.
Strife stand
Stu, our referee tonight is going to be Jay Schmidt, and he has the captains going out there, and they will be doing the coin toss. The coaches also go out to beat Kevin McCann for the Tigers and Matt Pazinko for the Bears.
This determines which team sends the wrestler to the mat first. South Plainfield wins the coin toss. And let's see what they have selected.
South Plainfield is red and even out.
South Plainfield is red and even, so East Brunswick will send out first at 145, and it'll be Travis Lutzko with a 9-6 record at 145, and he's going to take on Troy Heilman from South Plainfield, the owner of an 11-0 record and a 4-point GPO, might I add, and he is a two-time state finalist for South Plainfield.
So we start off with Troy Heilman, sorry about that, for the Tigers, and for the Bears, Travis, let's go.
First weight class is randomly selected out of a draw at weigh-ins. So we're going to start right about in the middle at 145. Trowman is in first on a takedown, and a referee uses the red wristbands to award points for South Plainfield and the green wristband to award points for East Brunswick.
He has that bar in across the back, and he's got to keep that legal, coming straight across and posting the far side. And back points are being earned. And a fall. 36 seconds. Oh, wow.
Didn't give us much opportunity to talk about Troy, but one of the bright spots in the South Plainfield lineup. And he's heading to UNC next year to wrestle.
Is he? And North Carolina is a very good program. That, of course, is the alma mater of the last East Brunswick coach, Glenn Pazinko.
Here we are at 152 with Dylan Payton in on a quick ankle pick takedown for South Plainfield, and he's taking on Anthony Tamayo.
Tamayo is a sophomore with a 1-2 record on the year. He's been wrestling for 3 years, and he enjoys the sport a lot. That's why he keeps coming back out, and that's, you've got to like wrestling, because it's not something that you do just for the fun of it.
Payton just missing on a back point opportunity in the tilt. Just ran out of real estate. We go out of bounds. We get a restart in the middle of the mat, in the same position we went out of bounds in.
But 2 matches in a row now, the Tigers have gotten that first takedown and setting the pace for the match. No back points there on that tilt.
Not to take anything away from East Brunswick, South Plainfield is one of those teams. They're in a league by their own.
Yes.
A lot of the kids tonight are just wrestling for individual. See what you can do out there against South Plainfield. They're just, one of the nationally renowned teams, yet alone one of the best in the state.
Well, the fact that they're ranked #1 right now, Stu, says a great deal. Middlesex County wrestling has been up and down. South Plainfield has been one of the consistents throughout the last, as you said, 10 or 15 years. And they've got back points there as he's got him over with that bar. That's a 3-point. He's got 3 points in the bank right now. A 2-0 lead and a fall at 112. 2 quick pins for the
this next
for the
match
Tigers.
Should pin out to be a little more exciting at 160. We're going to see for East Brunswick, John Schlafer, state place winner in his own right, and he's going to take on Ian Sickle, undefeated for South Plainfield. So this should promise to be a good match. Sickle 11-0 on the year, and he is the brother of one of the assistant coaches, Matt Anderson, for South Plainfield. And we could talk about John Schlafer all night as well. He is the bright spot in the Bears lineup.
John came in as a freshman, somewhat unknown to anybody around here, and then made his way through an incredible performance. A state place winner 2 years in a row.
Only a junior. And he also, we should add, while we have the opportunity, a 4.2 GPA. Can't get much better than that.
Now, John is an outstanding wrestler, an outstanding student, and from everything that you hear from the coaching staff, he is just somebody you love to work with. He's just great as far as following directions, taking the lead, taking criticism.
Well, this could be one of Schlafer's biggest tests of the season so far, but he's in on a quick takedown. He lets Sickle go. give up one in order to score two more is the strategy being employed here. Let's see if it pays off for Schlafer.
And they go out of bounds with 1:16 on the clock here in the third bout of the night. The Tigers with a 12-0 team lead.
Schlafer making it look easy there with a ankle pick, low takedown, so he increases his lead to 4-1 here a minute into the first period.
Well, these are the first points that the Bears have scored tonight from John Schleifer.
Well, if East Brunswick's going to score some points tonight, it's going to be in the upper weight classes. That's where East Brunswick has some opportunity to pick up a couple wins here in the upper weights.
He's getting back points now, and the Bears.
He's got Schlafer. He's got ankle in trouble. He's got him on his back.
Just about 30 seconds to go here in the first period. John Schleifer on top, a first-place finisher in the districts, the GMCs, in the region, and third-place finish in the state last year. And there's 3 back points. He now has a 7-1 lead.
Schleifer making it look easy, and he's wrestling an undefeated 11-0 wrestler here from South Plainfield.
Well, there was going to be a loss in this bout for somebody, and that's what happens when you get into the upper ranks of competition. And that will be the end of the first period. John Schleifer leading 7-1. The choice will be Schleifer's.
Green choice. Green. Green the first, red.
The choice was John Schleifer's, and he deferred, as you might have heard from Jay Schmidt. Sorry, Stu.
Well, defer means he'll have choice in the third period, and he's going to take the offense position. Sickle chose bottom. Schleifer's going to let him go, give him one, and try to pick up a takedown. And that theory's now worked for the third time.
9-2. And as we go through this now, John has a 7-point margin, a 7-point lead. If he gets to an 8-point lead, we have a major decision, which means he can earn 14 points. And there's also the technical fall as we get up to a 15-point margin. But right now, John with a 9-2 lead. And Stu, well, we have a chance, or when we go along here, you being one of the senior officials, if not the big gun in officiating in Middlesex County, you can maybe give us an overview of any changes in the rules this year.
Sounds like a plan. As I see something worth pointing out to you, there hasn't been too many rule changes, but we'll try to bring it up.
Okay.
The one big thing that I will tell you off the bat is the line, the outside perimeter of the mat is now inbounds, where that used to be out of bounds.
Right.
Schleifer in on a takedown, his 4th takedown, increasing the score to 11-3 here at 160, a minute into the second period.
Now, now it's the 8-point margin, by the way, and that is a major decision at this point. Now, when you say the outside line is inbounds, how does that impact wrestling?
In the past, a wrestler has been able to score back points on that line. He now can, where the line used to be considered out of bounds.
Okay.
And you would have to bring the opponent inbounds to score. Now you can do it on the line.
So, and both wrestlers, if their feet were on the line, they're still in bounds.
They're still in bounds. So you see a little more action now on the edges.
Okay. 30 seconds to go here in the second period. John Schleifer with a major decision at this point with an 11-3 lead on Ian Sickle. And as you said, Stu, making it look pretty easy. He's got control there. He's got the hammer across the back.
Well, South Plainfield does also not wrestle a light schedule, so that 11-0 record is even more impressive when you think about some of the teams South Plainfield has wrestled this year.
Well, they've gone against Delaware Valley, Bergen Catholic, St. Peter's Prep. Like you said, they're not wrestling a light schedule in the least. Third period now, and Schleifer takes the bottom, the defensive position. 2 minutes in regulation.
Look for Schleifer to get up to his feet, where he seems to be comfortable. Schleifer needs to get his hips out. He's trying to turn into that leg, and
he's got the inside leg.
Pop out the back.
Still red here, still red.
If he can post that, or now he's going to try to lift it and carry him through. Pops it.
Versalones earns 2 points.
27 seconds to earn those 2, and a 13-3 lead, 10-point margin.
I'm sure Schleifer wants to build on that lead. Every 15-point East Brunswick can muster up is just a shot of a little more respect here tonight.
Well, of his 10 wins, Schleifer has had 6 pins, so he is a pinner, and I'm sure he'd like to get that.
Well, he let Sickle go, trying to pick up another takedown.
13-4, still a major decision with an 8-point margin right now, and they're on the edge.
This very well will have some implication on county seeding, which is a forthcoming tournament at the end, last weekend in January.
1 minute, guys. 1 minute. Let's go here.
And you heard Jay Schmidt indicate 1 minute, actually 54 seconds to go right now in the third period of the 160-pound matchup between John Schleifer of East Brunswick and Ian Sickle of South Plainfield. Both of them are juniors. Both of them currently undefeated.
This makes it look so easy.
Gets in, got to pop his head out.
Look for Schaefer to cut the corner. Try to get his hips up, knees off the mat.
24 seconds to go here in the third.
Schleifer's got about 15 seconds to work with. The referee calls a stalemate. Basically feels neither wrestler's an opportunity to prove his position, so we're going to get a restart with 15 seconds to go here in the third period at 160.
Under 10 seconds, and John Schleifer will come away with the win here at 160. The Bears get their first points, and it will be a major decision with another takedown there and a final score of 15-4. John Schleifer with the win at 160 pounds, and we jump to 170 pounds now. Nice job by Schleifer, and you said just makes it look so easy. Very smooth, very calm as he went through the process. Jordan Handwerger for the Tigers and Sam Kim coming out for the Bears at 170 pounds. Sam is a... no, my paperwork's out of order here. Sam is a junior with a 10-4 record on the season, including a loss at 182 pounds.
Handwerger is a first-year varsity wrestler for South Plainfield. This could be one of those matches that's competitive. Need a wrestler with a distinct advantage on paper.
No.
We go out of bounds, we're going to get a restart. 36 seconds into the first period. We're at 0-0 here at 170.
Handwerger put on a lot of weight over the winter because from last year to this year, he was a sophomore last year, 4-3 at 145, now wrestling 170, although we don't know what he actually weighed in at.
Well, partially could be where his opportunity is to make this lineup.
Right.
That's not an easy lineup to crack at South Plainfield. In the middle, they're known for having Murder's Row, as they're referred to, where they are just super strong from 119 all the way up to 152.
Kim on
actually, you can extend that now with Sickle even to 160.
Kim in on that single and the knee pick. And the wizard by Handwerger. And they take it down, and Sam Kim has the takedown. And they go out of bounds, and they get a restart with 36 seconds left in the first period.
You're down facing me, right?
Kim has shown a lot of improvement from last year.
Is that right? I agree.
Sam was 5-1 last year, again wrestling at 170 pounds, so he's held his weight, been able to maintain that, control it, and build on his strength. So he's familiar with the kind of competition he's going to have to wrestle as we go down the line.
Kim on top, trying to work a tilt. Trying to bar up that near arm. Switching off to a head lever.
10 seconds to go here in the period, and when they go to the second, which I'm guessing they will, Jordan Handwerger will have a deficit of 2 points, and he'll have the choice for the second period. Now, so you were mentioning that a lot of what's going on here will have an impact on the seeding for the counties. I would think also that with East Brunswick, by having a good performance against South Plainfield, they could also position themselves pretty well for the districts as well. I mean, they have a lot to go at in the season as far as red division and district competition.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the districts, because after a long absence, East Brunswick will again be the host to the districts this year.
Very pleased to see that. Very excited to see that.
Kim on top, 2-1. Handwiger in on that escape. Kim trying to work an overhook. Establish wrist control.
Center mat, center mat.
Referee asking the wrestlers to head back to the middle, find the center.
The expectation is that they're going to work in that center circle, and that you have 24 or so feet across, or 28 feet across, but that 10-foot circle in the center is where they want to have the wrestlers work. That gives them the most opportunity to keep the action moving. You know, you mentioned the districts, and Stu, you and I, when we were coaching and when you were wrestling, the districts were here at East Brunswick, and it was only, I don't know, about 15 years ago, I guess, that they were taken over and moved to South Brunswick. But to get them back here, it's always an advantage for the host team. You've got your, well, the scales are a little bit different now with digital, but still, you're in your home locker room. You have everything, and there's a stalling warning on Jordan Handwerger. He is backing up, and Jay Schmidt, feeling that he was not wrestling aggressively.
Come forward here.
Back to the middle.
Under a minute and a 2-1 lead for Sam Kim,
who will have choice of position when we start the third period.
Sam got the initial takedown in the first period and an escape by Handwerger here in the second, and that's our current score. As we are halfway through this bout, more than halfway through this bout, with 30 seconds to go here in the second.
Kim is being the aggressor. He's forcing the action.
It's been a lot of upper body for these guys. They haven't, I mean, there's forcing your action, you're right, but they haven't really taken many shots.
No.
6 seconds, right? 6 seconds.
And as you heard Jay Schmidt saying, just 6 seconds left here in the period, but still, that's, if you want, that's enough time. But the period will come to a close with that same 2-1 score. Sam Kim.
Green takes defense.
Just had a feeling he was going to take bottom.
Absolutely.
I don't know why, but
well, you score your points from the bottom with the escape, with a reversal.
Set green. Right.
And if he can get to his feet, he's had success there. He's been successful maintaining position and forcing the action, as you were saying.
Well, Kim needs to try to establish some hand control. Work up to his feet, get his hips out.
With a switch, didn't quite finish it off there. Still in bounds, now they go out.
Well, it's, the key here for Kim is to react right off to Jay Schmidt's whistle. Try to get the first move, create a little edge, and create a little space.
Get some space. I mean, when he got that switch, he had a good position out there. He was clear. He just was a little too far away to make it work.
Handwerger needs to bring him back to the mat. He lets him go. As Kim escapes, increases lead to 3-1. Kim needs to go after him now. Handwerger has a stall warning. If Kim can create some shots and show the official he's working, he could pick up possibly a stall call here, or better yet, a takedown. Kim needs to stay aggressive. His best offense here is to keep working and keep shooting.
Well, he's pushing Handwerger around on the edge, and not that he's not letting him back in, but he's forcing him to back up a little bit and not have enough space to work, but he's also putting himself in a bad position for a takedown and keeping him outside like that. I'm not sure if Kim is trying to work a Russian or a bear hug, what he's got there. He doesn't have a lot. And Handwerger with kind of a half-hearted effort there. Couldn't finish that off. 40 seconds to go here in the third period. And they will get a restart. 34 seconds to go. Sam Kim at 170 pounds rather, with a 3-1 lead over South Plainfield's Jordan Handwerger.
Handwerger is in on a double.
Oh, now
Kim
Sam is backing up a little bit.
Now Kim, you can't ride that lead. Kim needs to stay offensive.
11 seconds, and it looked like Handwerker was trying for head and arm at that last moment when they went out of bounds.
Kim's going to hold off for a 3-1 lead. Back-to-back wins here for East Brunswick. First coming at 160, now at 170.
Of course, the big difference there, in the team score right now still were the bonus points, because the 2 wins that we have 2 and 2 on a split, but the 2 wins by South Plainfield were both pins and 2 decisions. I made a mistake at 7 points for the Bears, because they did have
see if the momentum can stay with James Colback here at 182 pounds, wrestling for East Brunswick. And he'll take on Colin Lynch, a 5-5 wrestler, 17-8 career record, a junior from South Plainfield.
James Colback is a senior. Loves phys ed. There's always a surprise when you see phys ed as a favorite. His career record is 15-18, and he's been around for a few years. 5-year wrestler in East Brunswick.
This again could be one of those toss-up bouts. If East Brunswick can win a couple of these toss-up bouts, they can stay competitive with South Plainfield.
Well, I think that's the thing right now. You were saying earlier that, is it likely that the Bears are going to win this? Probably not, with the kind of strength and the individual talent that South Plainfield has. But you do want to be competitive. You do want to stay in the mix. You don't want to give up those bonus points, the majors and the pins. And you stay competitive, you never know what can happen.
Well, we're at 2-1 with an escape by Colback following a Lynch takedown. Both of these athletes are football players in the fall, turning to wrestling in the winter.
Well, Colin Lynch is a junior. He was 8-2 last year at 160 pounds. He's got another takedown right now and a 4-1 lead on James Colback with just over 30 seconds to go here in the first period.
Lynch on top in position, Lynch on top in score.
You're saying staying competitive. If Colback, for example, can keep this relatively close right now, the Bears have 2 of their stronger wrestlers coming up in Mahmoud Solomon and Michael Quinton in the next 2 weight classes. And if you can keep it close, if you can then suddenly pick up a few extra points, and that team score doesn't look quite as devastating as when you open up with those 2 pins as they did, it can give your wrestlers a little bit of momentum and a little bit of confidence moving forward.
East Brunswick has choice. Colback's going to select bottom.
Okay.
Well, he's had good success getting out from bottom so far in this match. He's earned 2 escapes. Look for Colback to spring back up to his feet.
Again, 2-minute periods, 3 2-minute periods in high school wrestling. Tries that sit out.
Oh, Colback is slammed to the mat. We got 1 point East Brunswick. Technical violation. Colback looks like he's a little dazed.
Stu, with a slam, you have to bring, if you pick the wrestler up, you have to bring him down under control. It could be forceful, but it has to be under control.
It's the way the body lands. You have to land hips down first. He definitely came down lower upper back first. He'll have 2 minutes to recover. If he cannot recover, he'll be declared the winner by disqualification. Should Colback be able to continue, he'll get 1 bout point, and we'll resume 4-3 with Colback on bottom, the same position they stopped. Right now, let's see how Colback's doing. That's the most important thing.
I see Phil Hostler out there, who was the East Brunswick team trainer, working with Colback, asking him some questions, because you're always concerned about concussions at this point. He sits up, and he's shaking his head, and you certainly can understand he's a little bit shaken, and it's more getting the cobwebs out. But again, years ago, where it was, shake it off, how you feeling? You're okay. Let's get back in there. The concern is certainly concussions. And it looked like more than anything else, it was just being stunned.
Well, we all know and read about the emphasis on concussion today, especially in high school sports. Looks like Colbeck's on his feet. I'm sure he wants to go if he can. Ultimately, he'll have to make that decision.
Well, as you said, Stu, there's a 2-minute recovery time. And that is different from injury, and that's different from blood time. And
right.
Without going into a lot of detail, but you do have a 2-minute period, and that's each incident, correct?
Correct.
So, for example, if Kalbeck uses his 2 minutes now and comes back and then is downed again or put down again in a hard manner, he has another 2 minutes.
Correct.
Okay. I understood that. I was trying to help everybody else understand that. And he is ready to go. We have a 4-3 score. Colin Lynch for South Plainfield with the lead.
Nice gesture by Colin Lynch, extending a handshake. And we're going to get a fresh start with 7 seconds gone in the second period. Lynch on top 4-3.
And Kalbeck comes to his feet, sits out, and we are tied. And as you said, Stu, he has been able to get out. Lynch has done the takedowns, but Kalbeck has been able to escape as he gets in on a double leg and the takedown and extends the lead back out to 2 points again, 6-4. Here at 182 pounds with about a minute and a half to go here in the second period. And in an absolute shock, an escape by James Kalbeck, and we are at 6-5. And he gets in on the double. Does Lynch, and there's 2.
Jim trying to work a switch, needs to get his hips out.
We have locking hands signaled by Jay Schmidt.
Now that's a 1-point violation. Now the next violation will be 2 points. All violations are cumulative.
So we had the slam, now the locking hands. It's 1-1-2.
And
if it should happen,
then would be a disqualification. Doesn't get there too often.
Not too often. 1:01 to go here, and they are going to give him the escape.
1.3. We're neutral.
Lynch has, that's an option that a wrestler has. If he's going to give them the point, they can just start on their feet.
Probably came from the sidelines, from the coach. Seems like Lynch is getting himself in trouble. On top, let's put them on their feet, where Lynch has been strong. Colbeck needs to get his hips out and sprawl on those shots by Lynch.
Lynch's 8 points, all coming on takedowns in this match, and 2 violation points are part of the 7 that James Kalbeck has. 30 seconds to go here in the second period at 182 pounds. James Kalbeck for the Bears and Colin Lynch for the Tigers. Gets in, a good sprawl by Kalbeck, and they go out of bounds with 20 seconds to go on the clock.
Kalbeck with 17 seconds to work with. Trying to tap the head, set something up.
5 seconds to go here in the second. And we will come to a close of this period with the score 8-7 in favor of Colin Lynch of South Plainfield, and he is going to take the defense, the bottom position. And this will be the first time that he is down, that Kalbeck is on top during this match.
I agree.
Kalbeck picks up a leg. Needs to try to work to get Lynch down to the mat.
Lynch stretching that leg out. Well, Colin Lynch may have gotten exactly what he wanted there. He's now on his feet where he's got most of his points. With a minute and a half to go here in regulation.
Work lane, work in.
He has gotten in, has Colin Lynch very easily on Kalbach's legs. And if you may have noticed, while he was fixing his shoes and socks, Lynch was looking over to the side and picking up information from the coaching staff. Kevin McCann, the head coach, assisted by John Fuscolo, Steve Johnston, Craig Salvatore, and Matt Anderson.
Come on, guys, in the middle, in the middle.
Kevin McCann is very calm on the sideline. He just sits there and watches things. His other coaches are bouncing around the assistants, but Kevin is very solid over there, and I guess if you've prepped him enough, you don't have to do a lot during the match. 1 minute to go here in the third.
Get a look at the coaches. There's Kevin McCann in the middle in the chair. Johnson and Fuscola as we get a look at in the middle.
And another takedown and an escape. A takedown for Lynch and an escape for James Kalbach. It is 11-8 as we're approaching 30 seconds to go here.
30 seconds. Circle wrestle now.
Well, as dominating as Lynch has been on his feet, he hasn't been able to extend the lead.
Kalbach's keeping it close. One good takedown. He'd be back in here.
Gets it on a single. And just the way you talked about it, Stu. Nice call.
And he's got to let him go. He needs one more takedown with 8 seconds to go, and we're at 11-10. Lynch is not at that same fire pace he was in the first period, but he has scored 5 takedowns. And he's just going to try to play a little defense here and stay away from Kalbach with 1 second to go on our clock.
And a little bit too little, too late for James Kalbach. He will drop a 12-10 decision to Colin Lynch.
You know, he sees he can wrestle with Lynch, and he could get another shot at him in a couple weeks in the GMCs.
Absolutely. Well, we are coming up on a strength of the Bears as we go to 195 pounds with Mahmoud Solomon. He is a senior with an 11-4 record, and he is going against Luigi Girardi for South Plainfield.
And you talk about improvement. Mahmoud has come a long way since he has started wrestling, and he's paid his dues and worked hard in the off-season, and it's paid dividends for him.
You know, they had dual meet the other day with Middlesex and Westfield High School. Westfield beat the Bears overall, but Mahmoud had 3 wins in that that dual meet, 2 falls and a decision, so he did very well there. So just 1-1. I'm sorry, there was a mix-up on that on my printout here. But he went 1-1 with a fall included in that. And you can see here at 195 pounds, the different size. Girardi much more stocky and a little shorter. Mahmoud taller and a little lankier for a 195-pounder.
Mahmoud a senior. Girardi a junior. Girardi 8-3 on the season.
No, he's okay. He's all right. He's all right. As long as he's not twisting on the head, he's all right. He's got the chin in there. He's okay.
About 45 seconds to go here in the first period at 195 pounds.
Girardi trying to work a front headlock.
And they will go out of bounds and get a restart with 20 seconds to go in the first period. No score at 195 pounds.
We're going to go scoreless, it looks like, into our second period here at 195.
And the choice will be South Plainfield's. And from the bench came the call to take down.
Well, you want to try to score first. Should a match end in tie and go in overtime, whoever scores first will have a distinct advantage of choosing positioning in that last period. So it is always good to get your wrestler to score first and have that advantage should you go into overtime.
Girardi got to his feet. Mahmoud picked up that leg, and as he brought him down, tried to hook that arm and drive him across.
Is that red? Green?
They come back with a restart. Come to their feet, and there is the first score with Luigi Girardi picking up the escape. Still, we were talking earlier about rule change, and you said the one big change was the out of bounds, the line on the circle. Anything else that is of significance or even insignificance?
Let's see. On the second penalty point, whether it's stalling or, I'm sorry, on the second 2-point stalling call, your opponent would have choice position now.
Okay.
Which is a significant rule change. There is not too much of significance to anybody listening at home that you would really need to know to follow the match along. You did notice during introductions, the first weight class, we started at 145, so the introduction started at 145.
A little flurry by the two wrestlers out there.
That gives the wrestler wrestling first a little bit more time to warm up. The weight class is drawn now at weigh-ins, where that was usually drawn after weigh-ins. It's now drawn before weigh-ins.
Okay.
So that affects maybe a little bit of coach lineup juggling.
Solomon had gotten in on a leg, and it looked like he was either going for a fireman's. Wasn't able to finish that off.
Well, Solomon's going to have choice position in the third period. If he could pick up a takedown here going into the third period, certainly be to his advantage.
He got it deep on that leg, but he couldn't finish that off, and they've still been just dancing around a little bit. Not a lot of activity. Everything in the upper body. There's the front headlock by Girardi.
Well, Solomon's going to have choice. He's likely going to take bottom here. And I think we're going to see a couple more minutes of wrestling on our feet.
Very possible.
I'm smelling overtime in this one. I don't know, maybe a little premature, but let's see how it pans out.
Sit out, stand up, and there we are. You have been prescient tonight.
Well, these guys are pretty evenly matched up. We're at 1-1 in the third. There hasn't been any takedowns. I'm sure both these wrestlers would like a takedown here to avoid overtime. Let's see if somebody can pull it off. We have some information sheets, and Solomon lists Coach Iannazzo as his favorite teacher, so kudos to Mr. Iannazzo, assistant coach for East Brunswick.
He also indicates that he plays water polo outside of wrestling, which is not very common necessarily in this area.
No, we've seen video games on most of the sheets. We haven't seen water polo too often.
He plays water polo, which has got to keep him in great shape.
I don't even know where one would go to play water polo.
Around here, surprisingly, there are more colleges than you'd expect that play water polo, even in the East. It is not just California. But I don't know where you'd find it unless it's at a YMCA somewhere nearby. 1 minute to go exactly here in the third period, and we are tied at 1 at 195 pounds. Stu, you may very well be right. These two men have not had much going as far as getting takedowns. Well, although Girardi with that front headlock seems pretty...
Girardi's been working that front head, trying to work off of that. Just hasn't been able to convert it into a takedown. We have 40 seconds here to work with.
.30 seconds to go. in regulation.
South Plainfield ahead 15-7 in our team score.
Girardi tried for that leg, kicked back on the sprawl by Solomon. Little shrug there, didn't quite finish it. Now Solomon with the front headlock and 5 seconds to go here, and we are going to be going to overtime. Stu, quick rundown on the scoring,
well,
how this works.
We're going to go 1 minute overtime. If somebody scores here, takedown here, it would end everything. If no one scores, we'll do 2 30-second periods. We'll flip a disc to determine who has choice. If all even after those 2 30-second periods, Girardi, having scored first, that first escape, he'll have choice in that sudden death or sudden win, it's called now, and he'll have choice or top or bottom.
35 seconds to go here in the first overtime, the 1 minute period.
I think I gave you too much information too fast. Let's see how this minute plays out, then we'll get to the next phase of the overtime procedures. We have 30 seconds to go here in the technically fourth period, first overtime period. Sudden victory.
And 10 seconds to go here in the overtime.
And Mahmoud in.
Girardi in on a single. 3, 2, 1.
We're going to flip the disc now to see who has choice. And it's green. It's going to be Mahmoud's choice.
Green.
He's going to defer his choice. Red's going to take bottom. Mahmoud has to ride him here. Can't afford to give up any points. If anybody scores here, we wrestle the whole 30-second period. We continue the action for the entire 30 seconds.
Well, no one has been able to ride anybody out, but this is only 30 seconds, and that's the key right now, that Mahmoud has to
No one's been
keep
warned for
Girardi on the
stalling.
mount.
The referee, Jay Schmidt, has
Too high,
the
he's got to get
stall
behind him.
ball
He's got the escape.
in his pocket. And it's Girardi scoring first, and it's Mahmoud trying to pick up a single.
Girardi works that front headlock consistently throughout this match. 4 seconds to go. He has a 1 point lead at 2-1.
Solomon's going to have choice here as we go into our second 30-second overtime period. He has to either get 1 or 2. He's trailing by 1.
He's got a pretty good chance of getting 1 based on what we've seen so far.
Well, he will not have choice in the next 30 seconds, so if he could pick up 2 here, it'd be definitely to his advantage.
Now we've got an injury time. That is a minute and a half, and it looks like a cramp.
Now, if I'm the coach here, I'm going to tell my wrestler, spend 10 seconds trying to get 2. If you can't get to 2, then try to get your 1, but first try to get your 2.
Matt Pazinka was the one working on the leg, and Steve Roy talking to him in the green shirt, and his favorite teacher, Christian Hessa, with his back to us.
Well, we get a look at Coach Pazinka working on that calf, maybe a cramp, maybe a little dehydrated. They've been on the mat now for 7 minutes, 7.5 minutes. A little dehydration playing into effect, possibly.
Okay, 40 seconds of the minute and a half were used in injury time. That was injury time, not recovery, not blood time. So we have a second 30-second period, the third overtime period. Luigi Girardi on top by a score of 2-1. He's on top on position. Solomon gets out. He's got the escape.
Now he's got to try to look to score. He's not going to have choice in that next 30-second period. Neither wrestler's been able to ride very well. So Mahmoud certainly benefit by a takedown here. We got 10 seconds to go here in our second 30-second overtime.
Now, Stu, if we are tied and we have 5 seconds to go here, where do we go from here?
Well, we're going to go to a sudden victory now. Girardi's going to have choice because he scored first. He had that first escape. Referee Jay Schmidt confirms that. Girardi's going to take bottom. Now, basically what Mahmoud has to do here is try to tie up an ankle, get Girardi flat, stay heavy on him, keep him on the mat. If he can ride him out, he'll win. If he can, if Girardi gets out,
It's over.
certainly edge for Girardi.
It's not over, though?
It's over.
It's over, right. So this is score, and we're done.
Ride or be ridden. Mahmoud doing a nice job now. Keeping him on the mat. He's got to keep him down there. Got to underhook those arms. Try to break him flat.
Get the both hooks in and stretch him out.
Good strategy. He's got to keep him down there.
His hips fell down low.
And Girardi with the reversal. That's going to end it with 14 seconds to go.
4-2 the final score. He had the crab right in there. He had the legs in, and he was trying to turn him over, which was an aggressive move, but did not pan out. And by a 4-2 in quadruple overtime, 4 overtime periods, Luigi Girardi takes the victory over Muhammad Solomon at 195, and the Tigers extend their lead to 18-7.
I think we're going to see another battle here with Michael Quinton for East Brunswick at 220, a junior, taking on Torrey Russell, a senior with an 8-3 record.
Quinton is 12-2 on the season. He is a big part of East Brunswick's success. Quinton was a 4th place finisher at the GMCs last year and a winner, a champion in the districts.
And if you went to any East Brunswick High School football games and sat in the stands, it seems like all you heard is when Michael was on the field. You heard that name Quinton quite a bit. Enjoyed a great football season for the Bears. Of course, his brother Julian was an East Brunswick standout wrestler 2 years ago. Now playing football for Stony Brook College. We're going to get a restart in the middle as we go out of bounds here in the first period.
The 220-pound weight class, Mike Quinton for the Bears. And Torrey Russell for...
I think these wrestles will open up. We're not going to see the same kind of bout where we saw the last bout with Muhammad Solomon. I think we're going to see some points on the board, a much more aggressive style for both of these wrestlers. I think we're going to see a little bit more of a brawl here. Although there's no score on the board yet, we're going to see some points, I think. And it's Russell tripping up Quinton for a takedown. I think Michael just lost his footing there.
I was going to say, it looked like he slipped a little bit. And Russell taking advantage of that.
Torrey's on top in score and going to be on top in position as we get a restart with 24 seconds to go here in the first period at 220 pounds.
Both of these guys tall and lean, solid wrestlers. Nice switch by Quinton.
Needs to come around and control the hips to finish it off and score. No points on the board yet as Michael needs to pop that head out to get 2. He's going to pick up at least 1 here as we go out of bounds. Good call by our official. Good hold. Waited on the points. It's a sign of a veteran official.
I thought he might have had it, but I'll yield
Didn't
to
quite
you.
finish it off. I'm going to go with the right call there. You know me, I'd be the first to throw Jay under the bus, but good call there.
Choice will be Mike Quinton's. And he defers. It is a 2-1 lead for Torrey Russell as he takes the defensive position here in the second period at 220 pounds.
There's 4 minutes to go. That's a lot of time for these guys. You're going to see some points on the board as Michael working in the back points, just pulling them back, just using brute strength there.
2-point near fall.
Kind of caught Torrey in the middle of a switch, pulled him back, and
just a simple
picked up 2 as Russell's on his feet for 1, and we're at 3s.
Well, we didn't have 3 points in that last match until the final score.
And that was added together.
That was added together.
We got 3 each here. And as I said, expect more to come. Both these wrestlers have a very open style. Giving an opportunity for both guys to score some points.
For big guys, they are not working tie-ups. I mean, they're tied up, but not, as you said, they're open. There's not really a lockup.
Okay,
They're quick. Jay Schmidt, the referee, telling them, let's get back inside a little bit as they go out. And they'll get a restart with 1:01 on the clock here in the second period. Tied at 3.
Well, we should note East Brunswick has 3 of their normal starters out of the lineup tonight, which we really haven't gotten into. Tyler Schwartz is out of the lineup at 106. Eric Weber at 126. And 152 out of the lineup tonight is both Patrick Daugherty and Michael O'Kane. So East Brunswick, although they're trailing 18-7, a little deceiving with 3 and 4 of their starters not in the lineup tonight.
Well, those matches are all, well, one went past at 152, but the other 2 are still coming up, and those they might have made a difference in the end result.
Well, Mike O'Kane is certainly one of the top 2 or 3 wrestlers in the GMC, and Dylan Payton for South Plainfield is as well. That very much could be a future county bout in the making, depending on how the seeding goes. You also have Jordan Pagano from South Plainfield at 152, but definitely 2 of the top couple wrestlers in the county are at 152 in the gym tonight, but Mike O'Kane is out of the lineup.
Yeah, Mike was 6-1, and not having him there, can make a difference. He would have wrestled against Dylan Payton, so that might have been a significant difference there.
So Michael's going to take choice of position here as we go into the third period. He's going to take bottom. We're tied up at 3-3, and Torrey Russell's going to let him go, give him the 1 point, make it 4-3 Quinton. I'm sorry. That's right, 4-3. Quinton. Just not on the board yet. We'll make it official. Jay's waiting for the clock. That is a sign of a good official, waiting to make sure the clock is set and ready to go before he blows the whistle.
And it should be 4-3. That is not on there, and they just changed it on the board.
Both these wrestlers, in similar uniforms. We got bear paws on East Brunswick and tiger paws on South Plainfield. Both in the green. East Brunswick with the white on the sides with the bears written down the strip. And the bear head on the back, and the South Plainfield tiger paws on the back of Russell's singlet.
I mean, that always, when I was officiating, and I certainly didn't do it as much as you did, that always threw me off. When you had 2 uniforms so similar, it was always a challenge to keep them straight.
Well, by rule book, the home team is supposed to be green. Many officials will just make who's ever greener green, just to make it easier to officiate. Sure. Tonight, with both teams in green, East Brunswick, I guess has the edge. They're going to get the green, but I'm sure South Plainfield, most of the time, they're going to be green. Even home and away, just to make it easier on the official and the fans.
There again, Torrey Russell just gave a toss to the side, and Mike Quinton almost looked like he was losing his balance again, having to take a couple of steps backwards. And they come back into the center at 1:01 to go here in the third period. We're not tied. It's Mike Quinton up 4-3, a 1 point lead.
Well, Michael can't back up. He's just one for stalling. His best offense is to stay aggressive. You can't ride that lead. Another stall violation on Michael. That will tie the score at 4-4.
He's also crossing his feet a little bit there too. He's got not a wide base at all.
Now his movements need to be forward or side to side. Backwards movements are a sign of stalling. With 30 seconds to go, Michael has to stay aggressive here. Even if he takes a couple half shots, fake shots, he's got to get a couple shots in to avoid that stall call. And that's even though he shot him out of bounds, that's good. That gets our official, backing off the stall for a minute.
19 seconds to go here, Stu, as we come down to the close of the third period. Takes another shot.
Quinton's got to follow with a shot with 11 seconds to go.
He is backing a little bit.
And Michael backing up again. 4 seconds to go. He's got to get aggressive here.
I have a feeling that Jay was probably thinking, you saw the gesture by Russell, what's going on? He's backing up, and there it is.
Oh, and on the buzzer, Quinton is heading for a stall call. We're going to go in overtime.
And I don't think that Matt Pazinko is happy with Mike Quinton.
No, and I don't think his frustration is on the official. I think it's on his own wrestler. Michael should know better. You have 4 seconds left. You got to stay offensive. Now he's got to do it all over again.
Well, we're not going to recap the overtime rules again, but we are in overtime for the second match in a row. Mike Quinton
A
and
takedown here for
Torrey
either
Russell.
wrestler will win it. We have a minute to go. The momentum has swayed to the hands of Torrey Russell, so Michael's got to get back aggressive. Look for a takedown.
Stu, question now, is it the first score or does it have to be an offensive score?
Well, here in the 1 minute, it's any score.
Any score. So if he were to get hit for stalling again, which is not something an official wants to do,
that will end it.
That would end it. We are in the first overtime, a 1 minute period, down to 36 seconds here at 220 pounds.
Now, the one thing you and I have never done, as you know, we've been commentating these matches together for years now, we try to stay neutral and unbiased. We do televise for EBTV, but the momentum has switched.
No, absolutely.
Tony Russell now being the aggressor.
Mike Quinton has not taken really any aggressive shots, and he is backing up and just playing off the head. And there again, Russell shooting, trying to get the head and trip. Mike Quinton gets a single as they go out of bounds with 1 second to go, so they will reset, and we will have that first overtime period with no score.
And we're going to go to that disc for the second time in 2 consecutive bouts. And this will decide who has the first choice. Last time it went to East Brunswick. This time it's going to South Plainfield, landing on red. Russell chooses bottom.
And they will go the full 30 seconds.
I'm a little surprised he didn't defer, but he's going to, try to score first and keep the momentum going. So another theory behind the thinking of South Plainfield. Quinton's on top. He needs to tie something up. He needs to try to get Russell flat. Russell's been more dominant on his feet, so Russell's going to try to look to get up. Quinton's going to try to hold him down.
And
now the difference here is Quinton does have that stall against him. Russell hasn't been hit yet, so he can afford not only to give up a warning, he can afford to stall a little bit when he's on top. So Quinton's got to stay the aggressor.
Wow, that
Russell
forward
picks
roll.
up one with 2 seconds to go on our clock. Now it's going to be Quinton's choice. He's going to probably take bottom.
Quinton picked up the ankle. Russell came to his feet, and from that position did that forward roll and was able to break out. He now has a 5-4 lead.
We wrestled the whole 30 seconds here. We wrestled the whole period. Good choice by Quinton to go for 2 instead of 1. Now if he can hold him down, he can't ride parallel. He needs to come out to the side. Look for Quinton to try to put in a half, try to hook an ankle, try to work him flat.
14
Referee's
seconds.
not going to let him stay there too long. He knows Quinton's been hit for stalling. He might call a stalemate.
Quinton's got the tight
Quinton's
weight.
got to bring him back down the mat,
Russell
run him
comes
out
up.
of bounds or bring him down.
They go out of
With
bounds.
3 seconds to go. This is going to be the longest 3 seconds of the night. Quinton needs to tie up an ankle. Tight waist ankle. Get him flat.
Chopping an arm, cover the legs, prevent the stand-up. It almost looked like Quinton had a little bit of a head start there, but we have a finish with 3 overtimes and a 6-5 win for Mike Quinton. Torrey Russell was not happy with the finale.
You can't get much closer than that.
No. And Mike Quinton guts it out. Although certainly was on the defensive an awful lot and backing up a little bit more than he probably should have been. Tyler Calderon comes up for the Tigers, and he will go up against Oliver Piori at the what used to be called heavyweight, now 285 pounds.
Well, East Brunswick has picked up, was that 3 wins here tonight, Coach?
3 wins, yes.
One bonus point by Schlafer on the major decision, and 2 3-point decisions. The difference has been those 2 opening first period pins by South Plainfield at 145 and 152.
Tyler Calderon, a senior for the Tigers. He has a 7-4 record. And Oliver Piori also a senior for the Bears. He is 8-7 on the season.
Those pins coming from Heilman and Dylan Payton at 145 and 152 where we opened, and that's been the difference maker so far. We're going to get into the strength of South Plainfield lineup after this, so look for the that murder's row that we've been hearing about to kick in. So East Brunswick with an opportunity to put some points on the board here at heavyweight.
And South Plainfield also is going to pick up 6 points at 120 pounds when they pick up that forfeit. So that also is a big blow for the Bears. Peoria in his second year as the starting heavyweight for the Bears.
I gotta, give Jay Schmidt credit. There was a gutsy call there on the buzzer to hit Michael Quinton for stalling. It was the right call, and as an official, sometimes you got to make the unpopular call and make the right decision.
Well, you're not paid to be anybody's friend out there, that's for sure. And you have a lot of people who couldn't care less about you as an individual. But I think you're right. I think Jay made the right call. And you say gutsy. Is it gutsy when you do the right thing? And I think in that situation I don't really think he had a choice. I think that was the right call to make on that backing up. As it turns out, it didn't hurt.
You can't count on the official to win or lose for you.
No.
You want to take it out of the hands of the official. You want to put the match in your own hands and stay the aggressor.
Is that red?
Well, there was a coach that we both knew and who recently passed away, Paul Quirk, who was the head coach here at East Brunswick for a few years and did very well, was very successful. He recently passed away. But he was one who said, when you're out there as a wrestler, you have two opponents. You have the guy on the other side, and you also have the official. Now, not that he didn't like officials, but he just felt that you had to, as you said, you have to take it out of the hands of the official. You can't leave it to a judgment call. And in essence, that's what happened with Mike Quinton there when Jay made that call on the stall.
Neutral.
Well, after a scoreless first period,
Tyler Calderon picking up a 1 point on the escape. Tyler 8-4 on the season, 20-10 career record.
Get some action on our feet here, guys.
Also a football player for the Tigers.
well, as I look across in that corner, and from the angle you're looking on TV, you can see a bunch of green shirts in the front row, a couple of rows there. The East Brunswick Rec has finished up their match over at Hillsborough, and those are a lot of the wrestlers who have come back.
Maybe we get our camera in there and see Jason Minicle in the first row. And there we go. There's
some of the future
Jason on the floor.
Some of the future of East Brunswick wrestling. Now Jason's actually sitting in the front row there. And Stefan Glasgow over in the end there, I think it was. Sean Glasgow's brother. That will be a good matchup a little later on when Sean comes out and he'll be wrestling Anthony Ashnault.
Well, they wrestled last year, and Anthony had the better of him, and Sean wrestled a lot over the summer. So let's see see what he can do with Anthony. That Anthony raises the bar to a whole nother level.
Absolutely.
There's only one Anthony Ashnault.
Well, we are coming to the end of the second period with a 1-0 lead for Tyler Calderon of South Plainfield over Oliver Peoria. The choice goes to Peoria. He takes the bottom.
We have seen Oliver Peoria wrestle many times. This is a common situation for him to be tied at 1-1 in the third as he picks up an escape. And again, we're in that situation where somebody needs a takedown.
I'm sniffing the air, and suddenly I'm smelling another tie.
Well, I don't think either of these guys want to go overtime, so let's see if we can get one here. All too many times we have seen Oliver head into overtime. He's just one of those wrestlers that gets in that situation and hold his own out there. And
he still doesn't compare to a young man that wrestled at East Brunswick heavyweight a few years ago with Dennis Bruno.
How did I know you were going to say that? I just had a feeling. Did we ever ref a match at Dennis's where, he shot a takedown and it didn't end, or it didn't end in overtime?
I think we said we should have just flipped the disc right from the start and just gone to overtime and let it go, because all that other stuff was useless.
We are on the same thinking pattern there, Coach.
We are tied at 1-1 at 285 pounds. There are 53 seconds to go here in regulation. And I have a feeling that we are going to be into those overtimes again, although you're right, heavyweights don't tend to like to go into overtime.
Doesn't look like someone's going to pull something out of the air here.
30 seconds. And the dance continues.
I hope EBTV brought their extra thick reel of tape tonight.
18, guys.
Well, we got out of the gate. It looked like it was going to be an early night, but keep the cameras rolling.
We started with 2 first-period pins when Troy Heilman and Dylan Payton racked up those pins
from there.
Yeah. And we're now facing, as it looks with 7 seconds to go here, our 3rd consecutive overtime match.
We're at 18-10 in favor of South Plainfield in our team score. We're at 1-1 going in our first period of overtime. We'll do 1 minute, as you guys know by now. After 2 previous bouts, we'll do 1 minute. Someone should score a takedown here, it'll be all over.
There will be a quiz at the end on overtime rules.
I think anybody watching this broadcast will know all the overtime rules by the end of tonight.
They'll be able to officiate an overtime match at this point. Both wrestlers tying up. Tyler Calderon for the Tigers, Oliver Pieri for the Bears. Halfway through the first overtime, and I say that because I have a feeling there's going to be a second one.
And again, if we do the 2 30-second overtime periods, it'll be Calderon with that choice in that 3rd overtime period.
Having scored first.
Now, knowing that going into the flip,
Okay, circle in.
Oliver's going to need to score. He's not going to have choice in that 3rd 30-second period. All too many of Oliver's matches have been determined by the flip of that disc.
You know, it's interesting as you're looking at these two guys. They're both in the 285-pound weight class, but Calderon's a little bit taller. And I've always, being a short person myself, when you've got a lengthy person, you really have to be able to finish things off. You can't go halfway through any moves. Calderon takes the bottom as he gets the choice in that first.
Well, Oliver, he really needs to be heavy on him here. Try to get him flat. And it's Calderon explodes right to his feet, right off the whistle. Good move by Calderon, getting to his feet.
Neutral.
Gets the 1 in 7 seconds.
He wasted no time getting out. Both wrestlers going to try to get a takedown here. We wrestle out the whole 30 seconds. Then Oliver's going to have choice in the next 30-second period. We're going to assume he's going to take bottom as well.
10 seconds to go here in the second overtime.
Now, what worked for Quinton was getting the reversal as opposed to going for the escape and tying it up.
Right.
So let's see what Oliver tries to do here on bottom.
We are now in our 10th overtime period tonight.
Red.
With Oliver Pieri taking the bottom, as you correctly surmised. He gets to his feet, and it looks like Calderon gave him the escape.
So we're gonna come down to a ride or be ridden situation, I think, again, and it's going to be Calderon with choice of that. He'll likely take bottom, having got out in 7 seconds
right.
in the first 30-second overtime period.
Under 10 seconds to go here in the 3rd overtime at 285.
I'll be very surprised if Calderon takes anything but bottom.
But we'll find out right now.
Red scored first.
And you just heard Jay Schmidt, the referee, say Red scored first. They have the choice, and Calderon is taking the bottom. And we'll see if we can get a change up here. We're tied at 2. Pieri goes to the opposite side to try to throw it off a little bit.
Caution.
He gets a caution.
Caution. Set, red, go ahead, green.
And there it is. And so by a score of 3-2, Tyler Calderon takes the 3rd overtime of this bout, this match.
Well, I have a quick break in action. You mentioned the passing of a very special person in Paul Quirk. East Brunswick Wrestling also suffered a great loss in the passing of Bob Connington.
Yes.
former East Brunswick wrestler.
Bobby Connaughton was one of the first East Brunswick wrestlers I had an opportunity to coach when I was at Hammersholt, and one of a great person. We was behind what, two sons or three?
I want to say 2 boys. He was living down in the Tampa area.
Yes.
And it's Ryan Walsh now on the mat for South Plainfield, a junior with a 7-4 record.
Truman Zoo for the Bears.
Trying to keep his feet in. If his feet stayed in, he would have scored that takedown. Good call by our official, who's been pretty much flawless up to this point.
Jay's done a nice job working this match.
Walsh has already wrestled Severano, the #1 ranked wrestler in the country from Bergen Catholic earlier in the season. So he's been on the mat with the best, and he is trying to work a near side cradle and turned Truman to his back, and he's got him in trouble with that near ankle hooked, and he just comes off of it now and switches off to a cross face, trying to get the far arm, going to a cross face cradle, working into a 2-on-1 on the far side.
Truman, I believe, just for the 1-2 record, most of that JV. I believe all of it is JV.
Ryan Walsh with a definite leverage advantage, tall for 106 pounds.
Now, Truman just started wrestling last year on the 8th grade team when I had him down there. So he is just in his 2nd year of competition. And here he is wrestling South Plainfield as his first varsity match.
What a way to make your unveiling, right?
Yep.
And he's in a cradle. He's got to fight
30
off
seconds
his back.
to go.
He's got 30 seconds to fight, which is an eternity when you're on the mat, and it is converted to a fall for Ryan Walsh, our 3rd first period pin tonight for South Plainfield.
1:34 the first period, and the Tigers extend their lead to 27-10. And they are really
just running in their strength now.
Yep. Daniel Haddon is a freshman for the Tigers, coming out here at 113 pounds.
And he's a good freshman. He sports an 8-2 record. And
going up against Tyler Gallegos, who is 11-4.
Heaton has gone through the South Plainfield Recreation Wrestling Program. I remember seeing him on the mats as far back as I can remember. Gallegos having a good season. He's, like you said, 10-4. Much improved over last year. Smart move, listing his favorite teacher as Mr. Bazinko.
Well, see, these guys have to learn. You always list the coach as your favorite teacher, even if you don't have him in class. It can't hurt.
Heaton trying to shoot in on a single. Got a lot of action out here, and it's Heaton who turns it into a takedown. Follows through, comes around and covers. Trying to work into a cradle.
I believe I said during the opening when they're doing the introductions, here you have a freshman against a junior, but a freshman for South Plainfield is not a freshman as with most places.
No, that's an experienced freshman on the mat right there. And he fits his way nicely into that South Plainfield lineup. Now he's earning back points there on the line.
I don't think there were any back points. I think the shoulders might have been out of bounds, and when he turned, both bodies were on the out of bounds area. So there were no back points there, and still 2-0. Dan Haddon over Tyler Gallegos. And Gallegos
with a nice move there, trying to pick up a reversal.
Did not clear himself.
His legs.
Still right here, still right.
And we may end up with a stalemate.
Well, Gallegos needs to come around. The referee's going to let it go a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not from the neutral position. He's going to give Gallegos every opportunity to score. He did initiate the move. Heaton just following, doing a nice job of following, staying in control.
Got that crazy leg in, does Gallegos.
That could, if he can kick that leg around Gallegos, he'll pick up a 2-point reversal. He needs to underhook that arm.
Pick up an ankle, see if he can throw it across.
Heaton doing a nice job of recovering.
Very nice.
Heaton needs to work up. We've had more action in this bout than we certainly did in
the last
at heavyweight.
Gallegos was out, but he could not clear it.
Gallegos with showing some funk there.
No change.
And it will be Daniel Haddon's choice. He takes the bottom as we go to the second period here at 113 pounds.
Is that red? Go ahead, green.
A 2-0 lead for Gallegos, for Haddon over Tyler Gallegos.
We'll see how long these two guys can keep up that pace of the first period. Gallegos on top. Gallegos, only a junior, has 62 career bouts already for East Brunswick as he's reversed by Heaton.
Just threw him across.
Heaton extending his lead to 4-0. Heaton working the cross face. Staying hip to hip. We know what these wrestlers weigh here in season. We don't know what they weigh out of season, but by the looks of it, he's coming down from a much higher weight than Gallegos.
He's
a big,
tall.
A big 113 pounder, that's for sure. Trying to work that far side cradle.
Rocks him back. He's going to get back points.
3, 4.
Now he just missed a 5 count by our official, so he picks up 2 back points. If he had held him there for 5 seconds, he would pick up 3 back points.
And that extends his lead 6-0 with 40 seconds to go here in the second period at 113 pounds.
So Plainfield known for being good top position wrestlers, good with the cradles, good control, good position control. Trying to keep Gallegos down on the mat. Gallegos needs to try to get his hips out from under him, try to make a table almost and explode back up to his feet. Try to create a little space, or he's just going to keep working that cradle, that cross-face cradle.
10 seconds to go here in the second. Dan Haddon with a very comfortable and very easy lead right now, 6-0 over Tyler Gallegos. And really, as a freshman, just cruising along right now.
He takes neutral. He takes neutral.
Gallegos takes neutral. He needs the big move. He's down 6-0, so he needs a situation where he can put Heaton on his back. So he's going to take neutral.
There was a lot of action in the first period. Hadn't got the takedown in that period, but as you were saying, Stu, there was a lot of rolling around, a lot of movement, and I think Gallegos must feel that he's got enough to work with.
Extended a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Came close, just didn't get the points for it.
Dove a little bit, flattened out. Haddon countered nicely, and Gallegos finds himself now underneath the double underhook by Haddon.
Now we're in a stalemate situation here. If neither wrestler advances, we'll get a fresh start.
And I thought Jay was going to step in. There it is, right there. Stalemate. And they start again. Now, and Gallegos has to have a little sense of urgency right now. There's 1:25 to go here in the third. He's down by 6.
Well, you know the official's doing a good job when he's calling what you're thinking.
Well, we always think the right things, though.
That's right. That's right.
Shot by Haddon. Gets in pretty deep.
Heating in on the legs. Gallegos trying to hold on for dear life there to avoid giving up the takedown, trying to work back into that funk and take him over his head.
He gets his legs back, but again, Haddon comes out underneath. He's
Tyler
still got
doing a nice job holding on to that foot. Good defense there.
And they may,
neutral.
if he gets that leg, they may just pretty much get a stalemate at this point. And there it is.
That's good wrestling by Tyler.
Yep.
Smart.
Haddon was in pretty deep. I thought he had that, and then Gallegos was able to pop his head out and come around and draw the stalemate. 45 seconds to go here in the third. A shot by Gallegos, and he stopped.
The spin around. Now, Tyler's got to try to get something back on the board. He's down 8-0. That would be a bonus point for South Plainfield. Tyler needs to try to score 1, get up to his feet, get it back to a regular decision if he can. Just, earn a little bit more respect back for himself, help himself to seating.
Belly down, come around.
Nice job by Tyler. Very smart reversal.
Good reversal.
Tyler's down 8-2, but he's giving it a good match here. Much closer than the score indicates. You take that cradle away he got caught in, he'd be right in this match at 5-2. Those 3 back points made the difference in the score to make it look a little lopsided, but it was a close match.
Threw the leg in at the end there, an 8-2 final, so it was not bonus points, and as you pointed out, Stu, and that's positive if you want to take those kinds of things, and I think you should. As the Bears fall down 30-10, and we go to 120 pounds where there'll be a forfeit. Raymond Jazikoff will pick up the 6 points for the
Doing a hell of a job, Ray.
for the Tigers.
Well, you don't see that too often by the Bears. Not too often where they have a situation where they don't have a wrestler to put out there. Without Eric Weber in the lineup tonight, the Bears are forced to give up a 6-point decision, 6 points there. Not going to have a overall impact on our team score with South Plainfield with things well in hand at this point. We do have a special treat coming up, though, for people who have never seen Anthony Ashnold. He's in the wings at 138, and he is ranked currently #1 in the country. So keep watching the broadcast. There's some good things to come as we have Corey Stasenko on the mat, now wrestling 126 for South Plainfield. He's also part of that murder row we've heard so much about. Now, he was at 145 last year, and he's down to 126 this year for the Tigers.
That is a big drop.
And he also will be going to Rutgers along with Anthony Ashnold to continue the wrestling next year. Teammates in high school, they'll stay teammates for the Scarlet Knights under Scott Goodall at Rutgers. Stasenko is a strong 126-pounder. Look for him to go far this year in the state tournament as well.
Well, Eric Frazee is the Bear wrestler out there. He is now down with 4 takedowns, 8-4. And you mentioned Rutgers. Billy Ashnold is at Rutgers as the director of wrestling operations under Scott Goodall. And they are doing very well, but they're going to have a really exciting situation coming up when they go to the Big Ten. That's going to be absolutely phenomenal. They're already wrestling some of the some major schools. They've got Penn State on the lineup. They've got Iowa State coming up this Friday. Lehigh it's next week. And Goodall has indicated he's already getting calls from juniors who want to wrestle in the Big Ten and want to come to Rutgers.
Senko on top, 12-5. He's been playing let him up, take him down here.
A 7-point lead here in the first period for Corey Stasenko.
Hey, got to give East Brunswick coach Matt Pazinko, kudos for putting people out where he can, not trying to duck South Plainfield's tougher wrestlers. It'd be really easy just to say, hey, ref, raise his hand. East Brunswick doing the right thing here, putting the body out there. A little bit of a sacrificial lamb situation for poor Eric Frazee, but he's doing the best he can. He's trying to stay tough. And
Frazee is 4-3 on the season, but the 4 wins came at the JV level. 4-2, I should say, at the JV. And
it is not an easy task when you have to go out there and face somebody like Corey Stasenko. He's just a takedown machine.
I mean, Stasenko was a 6th-place finisher in the state, so he's one of those 4 place winners that are still on the lineup.
No, you got to give Eric a lot of credit. A lot of credit. It is just much harder than it looks to go out there and have to wrestle somebody like that.
Stasenko, GMC champion, district champion, and a runner-up in the region last year when he racked up a 43-4 record. I don't think I had 43 bouts in my career in high school.
Corey, very talented wrestler. Likes to wrestle on his feet, tries to spin around, picks up 2 and tucks them back. He's going to pick up some back points here. And that's going to give him a 21-8 lead.
I'm not even keeping scoring when I've lost track at this point.
That might be a tech fall right there. We're at 15-point spread.
23-8.
23-8.
So props for Eric. Hanging in there tough with Corey Stasenko, one of the best wrestlers in the state at 126.
That was not an easy match, and Frazee
23-8.
hanging in there. But a tech fall at, 3:14 of the second period.
Now, what do you follow that up with? Another state champ. Scott Del Vecchio is going to take the mat for South Plainfield, and he's going to take on Mike Nicolera. And Mike's one of the captains of East Brunswick. He's a tough wrestler. He's seasoned, but he has his hands full here with Scott Del Vecchio, who is ranked #1 in the state, returning state champ. Back-to-back state champs in the lineup for South Plainfield. We're going to get a look at Anthony Ashnault next.
Del Vecchio 11-0, Nicolero 10-6. You know, when you said back-to-back state champions, Stu, we've commented on this in the past as Nicolero goes right after him. Does not get the takedown on the line, but goes in for the takedown. We've commented before, Stu, when we've talked about this, how you do see bunches of quality wrestlers usually in a row because they're wrestling each other in the room. So the 126-pounder, the 32-pounder, the 38-pounder, they're going to wrestle round robin in the room, and so it's very likely that they're going to improve on each other's talents.
They make each other better.
Absolutely. Minute and a half to go here in the first period. 2-0 score. Scott Del Vecchio. Nicolero, not only a captain, but also an academic all-star for the Bears. He has a 4.0, or is it a 4.2 GPA?
One green.
And he gets the escape.
We've seen some wrestlers with some good grades tonight on both teams.
Oh, East Brunswick, I'm not sure they've used the phrase anymore, but you know, excellence in academics, athletics, and the arts, and that's true. They, you know, Frank Knoppenberger is the athletic director, looking to create a quality program and do it the right way, and the academics are important and do come first. And another takedown for Del Vecchio. He is up 4-1 now on Mike Nicolero.
Expect Mike to place in the GMC tournament as well. You know, he has his hands full with Del Vecchio, but anybody would. Mike is one of the better wrestlers in the weight class in the county at 132.
Well, he's a 5th place finisher last year at the GMCs and took a 2nd in the districts.
One green.
Last year when he had a 21-14 record.
Good hold by our official.
2 red.
And there's the 2-point takedown as he can try to bring Nicolero back into the mat.
Nicolero just really forces will on that move.
That's also a sign of a good wrestler, being able to score on the edge, knowing where you're at all times, trying to keep your body in bounds to get awarded the points. As we're going to wrap down the first period with a 6-2 lead for Del Vecchio.
Green. DB.
Nicolero takes bottom.
One green, neutral.
Del Vecchio is going to let him have the 1. Wants to be on his feet. Brings their score to 6-3 here in the second. Wrestling good competition can only make you better. You start realizing everybody puts on their pants the same way. Everybody puts on their shirt the same way.
Well, Matt Pazinko made a comment when the Bears won the East Brunswick Christmas tournament this year, which is the first time they ever won their own tournament. You know, he said they had quality competition. They were good schools. Maybe not the very best schools in the state, but they had some good teams that were in there. And his point was that they wrestled against quality. And so by winning that tournament, which I think is a 16-team tournament, you had a real good experience against quality competition. And that does, as you said, Stu, end up helping you down the road.
Right. You had Manawan in there. South River has some good wrestlers this year as Del Vecchio takes Nicolero to his back with a nice foot sweep, and he's picking up some back points off that takedown.
Over a minute to go here in the second period.
And Mike doing a nice job of fighting off his back. Needs to try to get to his belly.
Del Vecchio tightening up that half, pulls over that forearm.
Reverses the half, switches off to the chin, trying to put some weight down on Nicolero and get him flat. Mike is trying to bridge up on that elbow, but he's caught. And Del Vecchio picks up a pin at 3 minutes and 11 seconds in the second period. Nothing to be ashamed of.
No. When you've got a state champion on the
here
other
you
side.
go. Now it's the Anthony Ashnault taking the mat. We could talk about Anthony all night. I'm going to try to do it quick because we want to give Sean some attention as well. Anthony is 141-0 on his career. He is the first wrestler in the history of New Jersey to have the potential to be a 4-time undefeated state champ.
That is just absolutely amazing. And Sean Glasgow one of the top wrestlers, a sophomore, only a sophomore for the Bears. Took a third in the GMCs last year, second in the district, 27-7 as a freshman. So an outstanding performance by Sean Glasgow, but as you said, having his hands full right now with Anthony Ashnault, 11-0 on the season.
You know, it's bittersweet seeing Anthony wrestle. You know, I've enjoyed watching him wrestle for 4 years. You know, but good things come to an end. Good news for us is he's going to take that down to Rutgers next year. So local Middlesex County people will still be able to see him wrestle, you know, at the college level. That's the one good thing we could say. He is a true gentleman on and off the mat. And
Sean Glasgow not hesitating. He went in on the shot.
Sean is presently ranked number 5 in the state himself. So he's going to give Anthony all he can handle. This might be one of Anthony's tougher competition he's had this year. Sean is a strong kid. Good technique, very fast.
Under a minute to go here in the first period. No score. 138 pounds.
Anthony is just a student of wrestling. When he's not wrestling, he's wrestling.
I'm gonna write that one down.
Sometimes I just think, does he think about anything besides wrestling? Just all his efforts, concentration, everything he does seems to be centered around making himself a better wrestler.
Well, it's interesting because you say that, and it's I think it was Mike Quinton. You give him we give the kids a questionnaire to fill out about their background, a little bit about their life, and I think it was Sean Quinton. He said, "What do you do in your spare time?" And he says, or free time. And he says, "What free time?"
Right.
And I think that's probably with Ashnault too. It's wrestling, and then some more wrestling.
Well, I remember talking to Anthony after he won the states, I think last year for the 3rd time, and I said, "What are you up to now?" He's like, "Getting ready for next year. You know, there's no time to waste riding, having won the state tournament." He's already thinking about the 4th state title. And nice job by Sean. I mean, he kept Anthony scoreless in the first period. We're at 0-0 going in the second.
And even forced a caution.
All right, Green.
Ashnault choosing the bottom position.
Neutral, 1 red.
Comes up for the 1.
Now, they did wrestle last year at the dual meet. You could just see already how much Sean has improved since the last time these two faced each other.
He is incredibly strong.
Center.
And not afraid.
Work into the middle, boys. Work into the middle. Not on the edge.
Do you have a list of some of Sean's wins there, Coach?
I do. Sean has beaten, let's see, Southern Regional and Ocean and Perth. His only loss was to Brian Hammond,
who's a
Jackson Memorial.
State place winner from a year ago.
He has taken the best of a whole bunch of people. The GK Okafor from Spotswood and Chris Barron from Manalapan.
I believe
seven falls among his 13 wins. So
I believe he won that East Brunswick Bear Invitational, if I'm correct.
Yes, I'm pretty sure he did.
I believe he had an overtime win over McChrystal, maybe, from Bishop Bar. Is that listed?
Let's see, Bishop
Craig
Bar.
McChrystal, 6'5" overtime.
I got to find my notes here. Yep, Craig McChrystal.
So Anthony Ashnault up 1-0. He hasn't found himself in that position too often. But Anthony can score points in bunches. We know that.
Well, he has not had a match. Anthony Ashnault has not had a match this year where he did not get bonus points.
Center out.
Whether it's a major decision, a tech fall, or a pin, he has not scored anything less
Let's not
than
forget,
a 4-point decision.
Sean is only a sophomore here.
Right. So we may have saved the best for last, this being the last match of the night. And we're going to come to the end of the second period with a 1-0 lead for Anthony Ashnault here at 138 pounds. The defending 3-time state champion with a 1-0 lead over sophomore Sean Glasgow, and Glasgow takes
it
neutral.
Seems like Sean's giving Anthony a little bit of a fit here. Not too sure. Anthony's not too sure how to respond to this. Yeah.
Stand back. Stay right on the mat.
Some kind of injury time is being called for by.
I think maybe he bit his tongue.
They brought over a bucket.
Nah, he's all right.
And all right, let's see what's going on here. He looks okay.
Anthony is one strong kid. He's deceiving for 138 pounds. We have seen him go from boy state champ to man state champ in the last couple years. He really is a dominant wrestler, and you got to give it to Sean. Just hanging with him here. We're at 1-0 with only 2 minutes to go.
Well, Ashnault is not only physically strong, he's mentally strong. He's got all the tools, and as you said, Sean is just. I think it's more than hanging in there. He's been an aggressor. On his feet, he's been aggressive.
He's sending a wake-up call to everybody in the GMC, especially everybody at 138.
And he's chosen neutral, so they're going to be on their feet. Or I'm sorry.
He did take neutral. Referee's allowing him to switch to bottom.
Okay.
What you do commit to is what you have to take. Maybe the official didn't hear him, and maybe get a little reprieve there. But Sean's got to keep busy. He's got to work hand control, try to get back up to his feet. This is one of Anthony's better positions. He is a great rider. He can turn you here.
Well, he split the legs. He's got him hooked up. So he's taking his post out on the back.
Okay, we'll talk about another new rule because Anthony's setting me up there. He has a figure 4 around one leg.
Right.
You can no longer figure 4 anywhere other than one leg in wrestling. You used to be able to figure 4 the head. Try to get back points. You can no longer do that.
He is taking the bar on the right arm of Sean Glasgow.
If Sean can get up to his feet here, we're tied.
He's still got his left arm free. Sean Glasgow does.
Sean needs to try to get back up to his base.
Although Glasgow, he's freed his arm.
Sean's got he's waking up the East Brunswick crowd.
He's just gotten a warning. Glasgow has for stalling.
Glasgow's got to get up to his feet, try to work control. He has a minute to go for a burst of energy to come out of Sean. Anthony has him pretty tied up on top with that hook. You don't see too many stall warnings with that hook, but the referee feels Sean's not making an effort to get out.
I was a little surprised with the warning because he did have that bar, but now he's got the hook on the left side. He's switched arms. 30 seconds to go here in this last period of regulation.
I think when people see 1-0 in the paper tomorrow, if this is how this match ends, people are going to look again. They haven't seen Anthony Ashnault in any 1-0 matches. Sean has given Anthony all he can handle here.
He's stretched that arm back as far as he can.
Trying to pick up some back points. Sean is holding tough. He's going to pick up 2 back points here with 2 seconds to go. And that's how we're going to end here. 3-0, I believe. Picks up 3, 4-0. Great match by Sean. Can't take anything away from Anthony. Sean gave him a match, and you can't take anything away from Sean. So our final team score is 47-10. Coach, want to give us a quick recap?
Well, we started off with the Tigers' 2 quick pins, first period pins by Troy Heilman and Dylan Penn. Then the Bears picked up some of their points with Jonathan Schleifer with a 15-4 major decision, followed by Sam Kim's 3-1 victory, a hard-fought victory at 170 pounds. And then the Tigers just hit their stride. We had 3 overtime periods, which I don't think we've had 3 overtime periods in a season, let alone in one match. But the Tigers pretty much instilled their will over things as they moved on up. The only victories, the 3 victories for the Bears, giving them the final score of, I just lost it, 50-10. The Tigers have been averaging outrageously over 50 points a match. So this was right in their bailiwick as they moved on. A nice match by Jay Schmidt on the officiating. did a great job. The Bears fall to 7-2 now, and the Tigers go to 12-0, and they're just on their way, continuing on their usual run through Middlesex County.
You can't mess with the Tigers.
The eye of the tiger has come to East Brunswick, and we saw what they can do. But you have to give credit to the Bears. They did a nice job hanging in there. I think Sean Glasgow at Hunter
gets my vote for Wrestler of the Night for sure.
If you're going to give stars out, he gets the star, because Anthony Ashnault, a three-time undefeated state champion, still undefeated on his way to number 4. They could be history in the making, and I think that says a great deal about Sean's abilities and also where he might be going himself.
Absolutely. We'll be back in a couple weeks for the East Brunswick Monroe match. It'll be senior night, so keep tabs on Channel 3 for see when that'll air. And it was a pleasure to work with you as always, Coach.
Good work with you too, Stu. For Stu Kohn, I'm Bob Cancro for EBTV. Thanks for watching.